it doesn't get any better than this. Hi, everybody. Welcome to IBEW Local 1205 Friday Night Rivals, presented by Radiant Credit Union, alongside the All-American Shannon Snell. I am Jeff Cardozo, and I say that because it is Buchholz GHS. Long-time rivalry. Obviously, it's been one-sided over the last couple of years, but Shannon, we saw a GHS team last week start to do some things, so this will be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, we did see them last week, and it's much different from the GHS of old, Jeff. They were live, they were hitting, they were running the football, big plays, but they come up against the big bad wolf, the class of the county, if you will, against Buchholz. It's a rivalry game, so anything can happen.
Buchholz certainly the hunted, so many opportunities to get there to the Final Four and do their thing, and it's another really good year for Buchholz, so excited about that tonight. But let's talk about the Sonny's recipe for success. If GHS is going to do anything, what do they have to do against these guys?
They're going to have to shake it off. Last week, a lot of penalties. You saw them flying all over the field. A great football game, but I think a lot of those penalties prevented GHS from winning, right? 2 touchdowns called back. They got to shake that off. And they got to eliminate the silly mistakes. The silly mistakes were the penalties. We saw that a lot. They got to be able to do that. Shake off that loss and eliminate the silly penalties. Listen, if you're Buchholz, you got to be strong. You got to be smart through the air. What they did last week, they threw 2 picks. Andrew Whittemore, who we'll talk about in a second, made some passes, right? But he threw 2 picks, and that made it a really close game last week. Also, the big play alert, right? Big 2 40-plus yard passing plays last week from Whittemore. We'll expect to see a lot more tonight. Buchholz lives off the big play, so we'll see if they can do that here tonight.
And I know we'll talk about it quite a bit, but just walking by that Buchholz offensive line, 300-pounder after 300-pounder, so they can certainly push some people around. So let's talk about what each player needs to do. There's a couple of good ones here tonight.
Yeah, we saw him last week. Javaris Gardner for GHS ran the ball, 2 40-plus yard runs, a big rip for a touchdown last week. He needs to be involved in the offense to get this thing rocking and rolling, and for GHS to pull off the upset. And we talked Andrew Whittemore. He got a big arm, 3 touchdowns last week, talked those 2 picks. But he's a guy that's also counted in the running game, but he has a big arm. Expect to see that ball fly around a lot here tonight.
Well, it seems like everybody that lives in Gainesville is here tonight, but obviously if you're not, you're watching, and we are glad that you're doing it. Starting lineups and then kickoff right after this. We welcome you back to Citizens Field. Tonight's coin toss presented by Radiant Credit Union. Radiant Credit Union, when you're ready, let's get started. And about to get started here, there's the flip of the coin. Shannon, what do you go with? Heads? Heads never.
No, tails never fails.
That's what
tails never fails. Come on, that's my brother and I used to have these competitions, and he's like, "Oh, always got heads," and I beat him like 55, 56% of the time. Not a lot, but still, I'm always going with tails, and don't know what happened there, but it looks like GHS is kicking the ball off here.
So, too deep for Buchholz. Cam Burse on the far side, Coy Fryer on the near side, and another edition of Gainesville High School and Buchholz about to happen here on IBEW Local 1205 Friday Night Rivals. Alongside Shannon Snell, I am Jeff Cardozo. We'll introduce you to the third member of our team in just a moment.
This is a rivalry, Jeff. Anything can happen in this game. GHS coming in here against a really tough opponent, and Buchholz, who's their home opener, so see how they get it done here tonight.
First will take it inside the 10, and nice coverage downfield by GHS. So it'll be a long way to go for this Buchholz offense, but certainly a good one. And speaking of good ones, a third member of our team tonight, the birthday boy. It was yesterday, so happy late birthday to the great Randy Reinhardt.
Thank you guys very much. Greatly appreciate that. You know, I'll tell you what, when we talk about this game, these teams are on divergent paths, it seems like, but then again, tradition enters in. This game has been played since 1972. Buchholz has taken the last 7, 14 the last 21, but again, it goes back to tradition. Can you get rid of Army, Navy? Can you get rid of Michigan and Ohio State? No, you can't. You can't get rid of Buchholz and Gainesville as well, too. Now back upstairs to our version of the Captain and Tennille. Here's Jeff and Shannon. Take it away.
All right, Randy, thank you very much. And going away is right up the gut, the Buchholz running back, Ashton Norris, and a big hitter. And Shannon, this could be the story all night. We talked about that offensive line. 4 of their 5 guys over 300 pounds. It looks like the real deal down there.
Yeah, you're talking about, 2 guys that are committed to D1 schools, and on the right side, obviously, the babies, right? And this is a big offensive line. I love it because if Buchholz gets in trouble tonight, they don't have to toss the ball around. They can get behind the big uglies and get it done.
Andrew Whittemore, the junior quarterback. Long line of Whittemores that have been very successful here, and that is a successful throw and catch. Cameron Owuma. Well, let's show you what Gainesville has out there. The starting lineups brought to you by IBEW Local 1205, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 1205, powering a brighter future.
Yeah, keep an eye on number 74, Trayvon Richardson. Going to play both ways, plays a little bit of center, defensive tackle. Was a game wrecker last week, shut down a lot in that game. And also keep an eye on Tyler Piro. Good guy that came down the running game, stopped a lot of what happened last week in their game.
Whittemore rolling to his left, and a nice throw and catch. Going up to get it, Coy Fryer, just before he falls out of bounds. So a couple of consecutive plays, Whittemore rolling to his right and now throwing across his body back to his left.
And this is what you have to look out for with Buchholz. They stay very balanced, right? You got Whittemore, who's got a cannon back there, can get it in spots that a lot of quarterbacks in this county can't. But you also got that big offensive line that they can run at will. So you got to be very cognizant of what you're doing against this offense here.
Quick hitter to the fullback again. That's Ashton Norris. As Joshua Menifee checked in at tailback. And just a couple of yards there on first down for Buchholz.
Yeah, good stop there by 74, Trayvon Richardson, who we just talked about. He's in the middle of that line. Buchholz likes to run downhill, right? They like to run between the tackles. They like to try to hit you in your mouth and establish dominance. So Richardson, along with the interior of that defensive line, is going to have to make some stops here.
Whittemore with Menifee to his right. Will take the shotgun snap. Little jab step. Looked deep. And now has to settle down to his check down, and it's wide open. Avery Norris on the catch, and plenty of yards for another Buchholz first down.
Yeah, we like to call that butt naked, meaning he was butt naked open down there. There was nothing around him where he was just catching the ball and just turning it up for a big gain. And listen, if you're GHS, you got to be able to provide some pressure. You cannot let Whittemore sit back there, and you see he had a solid 3-4 seconds of pressure before he rolled out and was able to put it on a dime. So get some pressure, make him uncomfortable, get him off his spot, and try to force some incomplete passes here.
I thought you learned that term showing off at the beach this summer.
Well, I did, but don't tell anybody that.
All right. So Buchholz marching down the field. Whittemore looking to throw again, and he's got his target high throw, but Norris brings it in, and that's close to another Buchholz first down. All of our first downs here in the first quarter brought to you by Skyfrog Tree Service. stay motivated.
Yeah, to Norris again, seems to be his favorite target on this drive. And listen, they're putting him in a great position. Whittemore threw 2 picks last week, right? Making him feel comfortable, getting that confidence going, and hitting his targets as he's going down the field in his first drive.
And that pass brings Buchholz in the Call a Mattress red zone. Call a Mattress. Deals so hot they built a fire station across the street. Menifee's still in there at tailback. A couple of receivers to the right. Buchholz lost a really good one over the last couple of years in Justin Williams. He'll be playing for the Florida Gators this year. Whittemore dancing around. Now spins, and a nice job of making something out of nothing.
And this is what Whittemore does. Is he the fastest guy on the field? Absolutely not. But he's a quarterback, like the age of quarterbacks nowadays, Jeff, where they can get themselves out of trouble with their feet, right? And Whittemore ran for 63 yards last week, was a big part of that win over Vanguard. They needed him, right? They needed him big time, needed those legs. So you're going to see that a little bit here tonight. You saw him roll out a few times, but be able to get him out of trouble right there on that almost a sack.
Ashton Norris back in there at tailback. And Whittemore will give it to him. Norris getting around that right side, and nice tough yards again. Finally taken down by GHS.
And this is what you got to do if you're Buchholz, is to wear him down. And Buchholz has been, this has been one of their keys to success in the past, is that they wear you down with this no huddle offense. They get you spread out, they get you moving. Then when comes the second half, then they start to run the ball. When that defense has been running around the field, been gassed, been winded, hands on their hips. So look out, that same recipe for success for Buchholz winning football games.
Fryer and Norris lined up to Whittemore's left. They'll flip it out that way. Another catch, and just before getting into the end zone, Zon Ray Rochelle with a touchdown saving tackle, but that'll be first and goal for the Bobcats.
Yeah, just a quick wide receiver screen, has one of his blockers out there. And once again, we see Norris just been kind of the possession receiver on this drive, and wouldn't be surprised to see Buchholz just try to take it in up the gut.
They're going quick, and that's exactly what they do. Ashton Norris gets the handoff, and just like that, Buchholz on the board, marching about 80 yards in very quick fashion to take a 6-0 lead.
That's surgical. That's the Buchholz that we know. And folks, this is a year-in, year-out state contender team. People have a tough time dealing with this Buchholz offense and their defense, which you'll see in just a few minutes. So very nice drive for Mark Whittemore and his guys.
Timothy Ortiz, the senior, to attempt the extra point, and it is up and good. So Buchholz marches down the field, puts 7 on the board. We'll see what GHS can do. See if they have an answer when we come back on Friday Night Rivals. Seven 0 Bobcats. They ate up about 5 minutes on the scoreboard. Let's send it down to Randy for a Tucker Chiropractic injury update for the game tonight. The best in quality care.
Big number 8 for Buchholz. Messiah Jett is out the first 3 weeks with an ankle injury. He's been replaced by Raymond Sanchez, number 16. And last week, what did Raymond do? Well, he filled in and he stopped Vanguard 1 yard out in overtime to preserve the win. That's what I call guys coming off the bench. Back upstairs to you.
Not too shabby. And Sanchez, another name, his older brother, a big part of this Buchholz crew over the last couple of years as they just keep reloading. Here's the kick. It'll be Anthony Jenkins Jr. on the return for GHS. Finds some room and gets out to just shy of the 35-yard line, and that's where GHS and their quarterback Calvin Comstock will take over.
Yeah, Comstock, we saw him last week, came in, did a decent job. I think a lot of this, what happened last week, depended on that run game, and this is where I'm really curious, right? What does this GHS offense do against a defense that is really quick? They went up against a Bellevue defense that really buckled down in the second parts of that game. So did they learn from their mistakes? Can they get the ball to Boogie Gardner, to Javarius Gardner, and let him do work? Once he's in the open field, Jeff, he's a nasty, nasty player. Very hard to tackle, one-cut running back. So they got to depend on him tonight, got to get some movement, and can't get behind the sticks here.
Gardner transfer from Eastside. Had a really nice game last week, his first in the purple and white. Comstock will take the snap, but before that happens, some whistles. Got dueling bands here tonight as well, as both teams have their bands at Citizens Field. Packed house.
Oh, yeah, this is a rivalry. You can take a look around this field, Jeff, and up in the stands. And, you know, we see Buchholz fans on the opposite side. The purple and white are pretty deep down here. So this is a rivalry game. Doesn't matter records. I think both teams understand the importance of trying to walk out of here with a win here tonight.
And there you saw just before the referee, Ashpira, first-year head coach for GHS. Had his team play really hard last week, up 12-0 at one point before dropping a couple of points in overtime. So Gardner will get the first handoff. He'll get a couple of yards.
Yeah, beautiful tackle there by Raymond Sanchez. And listen, they watch film. They watch film, fellas. They understood that Javarius Gardner loves to cut that ball back. If there's nothing front side, he was hitting cutback lanes last week against Bellevue, getting these big runs, and really nice job by Sanchez closing down the lane from that defensive end position and making the tackle.
Comstock looking to throw for the first time. He's pressured, trying to get it off. He will, but that ball will be dropped after it was caught, so that's going to be a fumble, and GHS offensive lineman ends up jumping on it.
Yeah, and you have to understand this if you're GHS, and Ashpira is going to have to call some stuff that's a little bit more simplified. You know, they tried to throw, looked like a quick slant right there, was covered up. Comstock pulls it down, but those Buchholz defensive linemen, they're quick, they're fast, and they get after the quarterback. So sometimes with that second guess and take the sack, don't try to force anything because that leads into bad turnovers.
Xavier Chess, offensive lineman, able to go out and get it, keep this drive alive, but now 3rd and about 15, and GHS wants a timeout. It's not the best way to get started. All of a sudden, 3rd and 15. And as much as we've talked about the Buchholz offense, Shannon, over the last couple of years and how prolific they've been, it's been the defense as well. Chuck Bell does a great job on that defensive side. Was actually the head coach for 1 year when Mark Whittemore took the time off to go watch his kids. But you know, the Buchholz defense can really get after it.
They can, and they reload every single year. And Buchholz is one of those programs that believes in taking the JVs and working with them and working them up in the system. And these kids don't leave; they don't transfer out. People transfer into Buchholz because of the progress and them moving people off to college and, you know, just the level of football that they play. So it's nice to see them in the state playoffs every year. But you're right, Jeff. This defense starts. This team starts with that defense, and they've been really good over the last couple of years.
Well, here's that Gainesville offense brought to you by IBEW Local 1205 and the starters.
Yeah, you're going to see that offensive line. Trayvon Richardson at that center position we talked about. We talked about Boogie Gardner. Comstock is going to be. Also keep an eye on number 1, Jaquan Wooden-James. A really good receiver. The ball gets in his hand. Some special things happen.
You know, some movement on that offensive line. And that's going to back up GHS 5 more.
Yeah, they're down there, but listen, it's loud. I mean, Jeff and I are sitting on the opposite side up in the stands, and that Buchholz band is going crazy over there, as are their fans. So sometimes you have to think, yeah, is it that loud that they can't hear? Listen, we're having a tough time here right now because it's at the onslaught of this game, and fans are excited. Buchholz's home opener, like a good football team. You got to be able to withstand the pressure of your GHS.
So 3rd and 20. Now for the Purple Hurricane. And Comstock will just hand it off, and Gardner's got nowhere to go. A couple of guys in there in black jerseys. The first was Javen Williams, a senior.
Yeah, you have to understand that they know who's getting the ball, and maybe they're going to force Comstock to beat them, right? They're content playing one-on-one on the outside and said, listen, Zero was running up and down the field last week, so let's take out their biggest weapon and force somebody else to try to beat us here in this football game tonight.
Avery Norris deep for the Bobcats, just on the other side of midfield. And a high snap.
Oh, boy.
This is going to be a tough one, and that is going to be recovered in the end zone for a Buchholz touchdown.
Man.
That's Caden Dowdle who goes in there and gets it. And, you know, Shannon, just one of those, obviously a mistake. And I think if you're the punter there, you just try to kick that ball out of the end zone and save some points.
Yeah, smack it out of there. Like, don't try to pick it up. Trying to pick it up, you're not getting that ball off anyway. Just throw it out of there. And, you know, that's a hot drill right there. If you're that punter, you got to be able to do that. But here's the thing is that we talked about, you know, especially with GHS about shaking it off, right? Big loss last week, but it was forced to turnovers and penalties. And here's a big turnover right there. They had a struggle coming out of their opposite end zone last week. And sure enough, once again, we see the same thing. This time, Buchholz cashes in big time for it. And going down 14 this early in a football game to a team of this caliber is just not where you really want to be if you're Coach Ospiro.
Well, there you see Mark Whittemore. Talk about guys being around a while. This is the 30th year that Mark Whittemore has been at Buchholz High School. 14 as a head football coach. Lost in the Final Four last year. Overall, they were 9-1, doing some great things. Region 1, District 3. And Shannon, it's at the point now where basically the state is running through Buchholz.
It is. And if you ask Coach Whittemore, you know, he has goals. And every year he has goals up on his board, what he wants to accomplish as a team. The realistic answer, Jeff, if you and I were just having a conversation, we've seen what we've seen over the last couple of years is that it is state or bust for Buchholz. This is a really good football team. Like, people fear this football team. And I can tell you, standing down on the sideline, they're run like a college football team where they do a lot of things. They have the guys. They bring in guys, you know, that want to transfer here. They build guys through the system, and it's a factory. So, you know, for them, they have to be able to get that monkey off their back. Final Four is great last year, but the goal is a state title for the Buchholz Bobcats.
No bad snap, rough hold there. So Ortiz misses that left, and it is just 6 on the board for Buchholz. But GHS will take back over again, find themselves down 13-0 here on Friday Night Rivals. Bobcats up 13-0. A offensive touchdown and a special teams blunder for GHS is why our score is where it is, as GHS will get the ball back again. Before they do, though, let's toss it back down to Randy.
It's been more than a rough week for the kicking game for Gainesville. When you look at it, number 16, Sebastian Jimenez, he's been detained by authorities. He's been transported from Florida, and he's been sent to Texas. This information comes from Coach Perry. Here's my source. They are threatening to deport him back to his native Venezuela. The rest of the family is now in Jacksonville. His mother, though, is also in Texas right now. Young man who plays baseball and soccer. Great student. He's here on a visa. He's applied for asylum, and he's got a court date next week. So wish him all the best, and hopefully justice is served for everyone. Guys?
No doubt. Thank you, Randy, as Gardner will take the kickoff and get right to about the 20-yard line before 4 black jerseys will bring them down. So we'll see if GHS can be better here in their second drive. But the important thing is you got to get positive yards. Penalties and hurtful things are not going to help you be successful.
We saw it last week against Bellevue, and this Buchholz team is a state contender. They are literally going to be one of those teams that will go deep in the playoffs, obviously for the state title run that they really want. But you can't make mistakes against this team. If you're GHS trying to fight from behind, and it was a little different last week, right? Went up 12-0, ended up losing that football game because of those mistakes. These mistakes this early in the game will cost you. They cost you points, as you saw on that last drive. But now you need to start moving the ball. You need to flip the field. Make Buchholz try to go the long field if you don't score points here, but the more you don't have the opportunities to put points on this board, the bigger the score is going to get it farther apart.
Gardner will be back there at tailback again as Comstock is in the shotgun. A couple of receivers to his right. They'll hand it off, and Gardner with not much room to run as linebacker Jackson Dillon came up and hit him in a hurry.
Yeah, I love how Buchholz plays defense, right? You have those defensive linemen hold up those guards and centers in the middle, and the linebackers coming downhill and just laying wood, and that's the way you play defense. You don't always, as a defensive lineman, you can't always get the sack. You can't always get the tackle because you have to protect those linebackers and let them run around, and Buchholz does it better than anybody else. That team defense and that team speed is almost second to none.
Comstock trying to get rid of it, and throw is wide, intended for Anthony Jenkins Jr. And it almost looks like Happy Feet back there. He's certainly worried that he's going to get some dudes in his face in a hurry.
Yeah, you heard the term seeing ghosts. I mean, Comstock took a hit that first drive of the game. And, you know, when you take that first hit of the football game, sometimes it feels good. Jeff, I remember when I used to have, like, butterflies in my stomach until I lined it up and hit somebody with the pads. But sometimes when you take a hit, and you make a mistake as you did, and you end up you're down in a football game, sometimes you see those ghosts and you're like, hey, I need to get rid of this because it may not be somebody there, but you always see them in your head.
Comstock will just hand it off, a little misdirection. And Gardner getting to the outside, tripped up though, as he looked like he had some green grass in front of him. So a nice play out there by Isaiah Robinson.
And you see the talent with Gardner, able to kind of get around the edge, look like a kind of misdirection counter play there. You see him kind of get up there, and if somebody didn't get a shoestring, it looks like kind of a counter play. And able to break it. If he breaks his tackle right here, that shoestring, he probably cuts it behind his wide receiver, Jaquan Wooden, and gets some big yards, maybe a first down.
Well, GHS going to go for it here deep in their own territory.
You know, punting it away, I don't think they're excited about their punt team right now, so maybe they're just trying to go for points.
They'll need 3, and Gardner is trying to get it, but won't. So Buchholz with another big stop. First in there for the Bobcats is Drayson Martin. A lot of juniors and seniors on this Buchholz roster.
Yeah, they're heavy loaded. They got a lot of experience on this roster, Jeff, and this is probably why, if you talk to any Buchholz fan, if you talk to anybody that watches this football team, even the coaching staff, they're expecting big things. They were a little young last year. There were some guys that they depended on, and you know, they had the Justin Williams of the world, and they had all that stuff. But they have some guys this year that have that game experience, that have been battle tested, that is going to push them past the points where they struggled last year.
So Andrew Whittemore back to work. He'll look to his left, fire out there. He has hit every target so far, and one of his favorites has been Coy Fryer as he makes another catch for about 5 there on first down.
Yeah, he's been hitting these hooks and comeback routes and these short routes out there. We have yet to see him go deep. And I think this is a great part of the game plan. GHS is content playing off their receiver, their cornerbacks, their linebackers. So Buchholz is doing a good job in the passing game of just taking what the defense gives them.
And we've got offsides now on GHS.
Yeah, and you look at this. You look at this, Jeff, and it's not what GHS is doing wrong. They've made minimal mistakes, right? They had one given up for a touchdown, but it's the execution of Buchholz. This could be any team in Florida that they might see, and they have these kind of issues. Buchholz is just a really well-oiled machine that's having a really, really good first quarter here. Four
wide for the first time for the Bobcats. And Whittemore with the quick hitter, and that is delivered perfectly right into the hands of Dominic Harvey. And Harvey, with a couple of touchdowns last week, gets another one for another Radiant Credit Union touchdown.
And he put that on a rope, like just right, like the angle that I'm sitting at. I was almost right behind him, and he puts that on a rope. I mean, there was no air under that ball. Harvey had no choice but to catch it. It was right in his numbers, right in his hands, and quick touchdown right there. We made reservations for 6.
Harvey, a senior. He's off to a great start so far this year. Timothy Ortiz, this time good with the extra point, and just like that, the Bobcats have put 20 on the scoreboard, and we still have a couple of minutes left here in quarter number 1.
This is scary what this team, this Buchholz Bobcat team can do when they are firing on all cylinders. Have we seen the full gauntlet of what they can do? No, not yet. Once they start getting behind those big offensive linemen, things get real rugged and real nasty. But you see Whittemore here able to just put a dot right onto Dominic Harvey's chest, and once again able to pull that in and get his 3rd touchdown of the season. But that's elementary. That's easy enough for the Bobcats, which have been doing that year over year over year, and it's just been guy after guy.
Well, there you see Harvey, the senior, his dad, a pretty good football player himself.
Yeah, Derek Harvey, defensive end, University of Florida, 1st-round draft pick, a guy that was just fantastic, and seems like his son is taking in those same shadows. He's even though he's not a defensive end, he's a wide receiver, right? It's always a thing where father-son, they switch the side of the ball. It's really weird.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in Major League Baseball that were really good pitchers, and now their kids are all position players.
Like, yeah, and they're really, a lot of them really good hitters.
Yeah.
Right? It's just you see that a lot, and it's really weird because you figure they pick up the lineage of maybe being able to throw through a heat, maybe a slider, a couple curveballs, but no, they want to hit the ball nowadays.
Ortiz gets it inside the 10, and a nice run back there for GHS. That was Kianis Perry, backup running back. We saw Kianis a couple of times last week get some good run, and Oshapira really likes him, as you see him tap him on the shoulder right there.
Yeah, really good change of pace back. Able to come in with Javarius Gardner, taking a breather, and both guys can run the football. Did some really good things in that game last week. But now they need help right now, right? They need to figure out if Comstock's going to be the guy that's can air this ball out a little bit. Easier said than done against a Buchholz defense that's firing up right now, but they got to do a good job. They got to be able to start moving this football, and honestly, Jeff, they got to keep that defense off the field because once Buchholz gets into their groove, it's going to be a really, really tough deal to hold that offense from getting more points. 2 offensive possessions for GHS. They have yet to get a first down, and Perry has nowhere to go either. Nice job again by the D-line, and Raymond Sanchez from his linebacker spot gets in there with a couple of other guys. Yeah, Sanchez coming downhill. You see number 34 hopping there. There's Javen Williams. You see every guy, and they're playing the run. They know that GHS loves to run the football. We saw it last week. We know that was their bread and butter. But when a team has the same kind of athletes, or maybe some even better at certain positions, you have to figure out something different that you can do to move this football. Comstock trying to get one down the field, but that's behind and going to be picked. And a nice move along the sidelines. And that is William Flagg. Yeah, and this is the thing, and we saw this last week, is that Comstock threw a couple floaters up in the air to see if kind of a 50-50 ball. When you have the level of athlete that, like a William Flagg, or you have the level of athlete that Buchholz has, those 50-50 balls, sometimes that it's not a 50-50 ball. He's able to have really good ball skills, turn around, track the ball down, and take it back in the opposite direction for a really big pick. Well, you saw another guy on the sideline you made me familiar with, if you're a Gator fan, Kewan Ratliff, part of this Buchholz staff, and he had a lot of those picks back in his time as a Florida Gator. Yeah, my senior year, he had 9 picks. Arkansas game alone, he had 3 and 1 for a touchdown. Almost single-handedly won that game for us. So a guy that's been a Florida Gator legend and just had a really fantastic, I love playing with him, a guy that just could turn the game in a hot second. And that is still, to this day, the most in a single season. Absolutely. Tied with a couple of other guys. So Whittemore back to work. Joshua Menifee in there at tailback. He'll get the handoff. Get
behind that big offensive line and finally brought down by Tyler Pira. But still, about a 6 or 7 yard gain there on first down.
That's mashing. Now Buchholz gets into the groove theory. They do what they want to do, and they threw the ball around a little bit, right? Play good defense, but now what they do, and you talked to Coach Mark Whittemore before the game, and he said, we got some big guys. He's like, when we really struggle, you know what we're going to do. We're going to go behind this big offensive line. And you just let it loose.
Ball's out. Menifee didn't hang on to it like he should have, and a big old hit by GHS forces a huge turnover for the Purple Hurricane.
You talk about needing something at the last second and coming through and blasting. That was a hell of a hit right there, and you got to feel good if you're GHS, and you're going to see it right here. Getting behind there, running this kind of a power play up in the middle of your Menifee, you got to hold on to that ball. You see, bang, right on the ball, hit right on the ball. That was number 13, just coming through and just blasting them and letting that, and just getting on top of it. Really, really nice play there.
Yeah, I mean, that's perfect execution from Elijah Lewis Thompson.
Yeah, now if you're GHS, you gotta capitalize on it. It's kind of like out of the fryer into the frying pan, right? You're down in the shadow of your end zone against a Buchholz defense that you literally haven't been able to gain any yards on, and that's not a place you want to be in, right? I know you try to get Javaris Gardner going, but they're keying in on him, and that Buchholz the front seven. So, if you're Calvin Comstock, if you're Coach Ash Pira, do you get him on a rollout? Do you do something to try to get something out in that flat and get some yards, some quick stuff, just to be able to start getting some momentum for this offense?
Gardner will get the handoff, working his way back, bobbing and weaving, and a nice first down run right there. And Shannon, going back to the tackle, I think not enough people do that. They don't put their helmet on the football. I think certainly it's tough to hang on to a ball when you do that.
Yeah, even if you're covering it up, Jeff, you're taking some impact to your forearms, to your biceps, and it really is kind of trying. If that head gets on the ball or arm or fist or something that bumps it out, that pigskin is very hard to hold on to, regardless of how you're holding it or however much you want to cover it up. So it was a really good hit by Lewis Thompson right there to really give GHS the ball back.
Comstock a lot of room as Buchholz tries to chase him down.
And that's a flag
hit.
for sure, yeah.
Flag will be thrown after Isaiah Robinson laid some heat, but Comstock was out of bounds, so not only a first down, but it's going to be 15 more for the Purple Hurricane.
I mean, honestly, that heck of a run by Comstock. Comstock wasn't going to just kind of run out of bounds, but he was kind of running towards that way. Took it when his foot was already on the line, and that was for sure a personal foul. But, this is you need those kind of plays if you're GHS. They got to be a little bit dirty. You're down 20-0 after at the end of the first quarter here. You needed that, and that needed to be that extra 15 yards is going to help extend this drive and keep this offense on the field.
Well, the clock has hit 0. Signify the end of the first quarter, but Zebra is still talking with Ash Pira, and we'll get it all sorted out when we come back. First quarter in the books here at Citizens Field. This crosstown rivalry, so far, Buchholz leads it 20-0.
Yeah, what a quarter for Buchholz. We knew this team was good, Jeff. We knew what they could do. But, even at the end of that first quarter, it kind of feels good if you're GHS, right? To be able to have some positive momentum, right? Got the first down, big play with the 15-yard penalty added on, and maybe that fires them up, right? It feels like they're a little flat. When you take a punch in the mouth and Buchholz drives it 80 yards for a touchdown, they end up recovering the muff punt or the muff snap over the head for a touchdown. You lose some wind out of your sails, right? You're like, oh, Lord, we're about to get blown out. But all of a sudden, you got Comstock who comes around and takes a hit, and then all of a sudden, it changes the mode. So,
all right, so that will do it again for quarter number 1 here on IBEW Local 1205 Friday Night Rivals. It's 20-0 Bobcats. We start the second quarter, and it's 20-0 Buchholz. And here's how we got there. Our first quarter scoring summary brought to you by Farah and Farah, Gainesville's injury attorneys and proud supporters of our local student athletes. You had a run, a special teams touchdown, and then a throwing touchdown.
Yeah, you got Buchholz doing it in every facet and big-time plays by them, just taking advantage of every opportunity, doing what Buchholz does.
So GHS will take over. Gain of a couple. They're on first down for the Purple Hurricane.
And Jeff, they got to stick with their game plan. You know, they're going to have to pull out some stuff because Buchholz is content on stopping the run. They're sending guys on run blitzes. They're sending those linebackers head first in the gaps without even any concern about a play-action pass. So maybe it's a good idea even for GHS to maybe pull something back, throw a play-action play, something over the head.
Nowhere to go for Gardner there as Amari Coulter gets in the backfield in a hurry.
Yeah, listen, this is not a, Buchholz plays really good defense on the edges, right? They contain the run well with their edges. Their defensive tackles push the pocket, and their linebackers come downhill. So, you're down to third down. You're not going to surprise them. You're going to have to throw the ball here, but it's got to be something a little bit more creative to be able to get past or to start what you initially started a pretty good drive for GHS.
So after GHS gets their initial first down and then 15 more after the penalty, it's now third and about 15. As Comstock's going to try to get it wide, he does, and a big stick. As Jaquan Wooden was right there to lay the hammer.
I applaud him from getting up from that hit, but Wooden came up and he was playing a cover two. He just dropped back a couple steps, and Comstock, it was a predetermined read, right? It was kind of an out route, and just all of a sudden, Wooden just comes up and it just absolutely gets blasted. And you can see here, bang. Yeah, just comes up there, and that's Cam Burst coming up and just absolutely flattening the receiver out.
Anthony Jenkins Jr. able to hold on to it, but a gain of just a yard, and now a decision to be made, and Ashpira wants to talk about it as it's 4th and 11 once again. Well, we see him go for it a couple of times on fourth down after the first punt attempt sailed over the punter's head.
Yeah, I think they had some issues in the punting game last week, right? And that's you figure, that has to be addressed. Is it a 1 week fix? Probably not. Doesn't look like it is now, just due to what happened. But now they're gonna have to try to figure something out here on fourth down.
Well, during the fourth quarter of the game tonight, we'll be selecting our IBEW Local 1205 Player of the Game. It's the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union 1205, powering a brighter future.
Oh, there's some leaders in the clubhouse right now, and a lot of them reside on the opposite sideline over there for the Bobcats. So let's see if GHS can get something together, and this is going to go a long way. Do they need to score here? No, there's still enough time left to where things can happen. But sure enough, looks like they're sending the punt unit out there on the field. Looks like there's only 10 players out there on the field right now after somebody ran on.
Yep, still need another one. And here he comes. Josh McClellan will run out there late. Back deep for Buchholz, Avery Norris. This time a better punt. And a short kick. Norris will let it bounce a couple of times and then get tackled in a hurry. So good coverage downfield by GHS. And Buchholz will take over just inside their 30-yard line.
Yeah, now what do? I think Buchholz has shown a lot on that first drive, and even their second drive of the game where they were able to throw the ball around the field, right? They hit a lot of short passes. They did some mashing in the run game. So you're trying to pick your poison. If you're GHS, you got to take one thing away, right? Me speaking personally, I'm trying to take away their run game. I'm sending run blitzes. I'm going to try to, and even in those run blitzes, you can force Whittemore, you can force Andrew Whittemore to be in some uncomfortable situations. Send some pressure at him. Just try to get him out of a rhythm so that you have a better chance of stopping this offense.
Whittemore will hand it off. And right up the gut. Even when it looks like there's nothing there, Shannon, it's 5 or 6 yards because of that offensive line.
Rugby scrum. I mean, big dudes, 300-pound dudes. Let me tell you, that's a tough deal to deal with. And it's got to feel good if you're Buchholz, because that's what you're going to do. They're going to lean on that here throughout the course of the entire season. So if you're GHS, you know they're going to do it. You got to figure out a way to stop it.
Whittemore will hand it off to Menifee. Gets around the right side, and a big stick there by GHS. Zaire Francis came in, but that is another first down. This one brought to you by UF Health OrthoCare. Walk-ins are welcome 7 days a week.
They're a power team. It's a power run, able to get that guard up and around the hole, and sure enough, coming around again as a lead blocker, and you can't stop it. It's just not fun to try to stop Menifee coming downhill with a big old guard in front of him.
15 more for Menifee as he gets around those big boys, and just like that, Buchholz is across midfield, and they're going in a hurry.
Abram Shearer, that left guard, able to come around and lead him up in the hole again, and that's been their favorite play. That power play that offensive line is leading right around that right side and getting these running backs some really, really big yardage on each run.
They'll give it to the fullback this time, and that is Ashton Norris, who's already got a touchdown today, and he's got another 16 yards there on first down. So the 3 first down runs, you went 5, you went 15, and now you went 16.
I mean, that's a dive play. I mean, this is what they do. They keep you all balanced with their run game. They're running power. Now they're running it right downhill, a short handoff, as they do again here. And it's just, it's tough. It's 300 pounds. It's, you know, every guy across that line, almost every guy is almost 300 pounds. That's 1,500 pounds of mass coming down at your neck. I'm telling you, listen, when we had big lines, like I played in Tampa with a line that averaged 280 pounds, and this was 20 years, this was 5 years ago. But we used to love to run the football because we were bigger than everybody else. We ran power run, and this is the same kind of offense that Buchholz has been very successful with.
So Whittemore back in the shotgun. Scanning the field. He's got his receiver out to the left. And trying to break a couple of tackles is Avery Norris. He can't. And he'll be shy of first down yardage. Whittemore has completed every pass he has thrown so far tonight.
I literally was about to say that, Jeff. I was like, I didn't see a ball hit the ground. And you got to also give credit to the execution between Whittemore and his receivers, right? It takes one guy to throw it and one guy to catch it. So fantastic job by the execution of the throw and passing, the passing and catching game.
Oh, Ashton Norris, now the running back. Whittemore will hand it to him, and look at that hole right up the middle.
Yes.
He wasn't touched until he got 15 yards down the field.
That's another power play that's just getting led around that hole. And listen, Norris is not a guy that's going to be like, I'm going to juke you out your shoes. He's power. He's coming down the hill, trying to put that helmet right in your neck and run right through you. As Marshawn said, I'm going to run through it. You know what I'm talking about. And that's exactly what Norris is. He's coming down the hill. He's trying to find the nearest defender and run right through him.
He'll give way to Menifee, who's back in the backfield. Menifee will get the chance to try to get in the end zone. He's pounding hard, and he is in. Nice, strong run by Joshua Menifee, the junior, and it's the second rushing touchdown of the night for the Bobcats.
Yeah, I mean, Buchholz looks like a well-oiled machine, and you know, at this point in time, you have to realize like people see this and they have to game plan for this, and it's tough because if you shut down one thing, they still have great playmakers in every other spot. They have backup running backs that are really good. They have offensive linemen that are nasty and big and physical and mean, and that's just the kind of football team that is built to win state championships.
So Ortiz back in there for the extra point. Riley McGriff, backup quarterback, with the hold, and it is a good one right through the uprights. So 27 on the scoreboard for Buchholz as we take a timeout at Citizens Field. Bobcats dominating the city rivalry here early on. Well, between those white lines, Buchholz dominating right now. On the other side of those white lines, guy that dominates with everything he does. Let's toss it back down to Randy.
Thank you, Jeff. I'm here with Karen Reynoso from Parks Motor Group. She's the Hyundai Service Advisor, and thanks for coming here tonight. I've got to ask you a question. What does this mean to Parks Motor Group to be involved in high school football and Friday night rivals here on Mile 11? What does that mean to you guys?
Well, we're more than just a business. We have roots here. It really means a lot to us to have the opportunity to come out here and support, and we want to continue to show up for these athletes on and off the field.
Have Friday nights like this always been special to you?
They're special. I think, it represents, a healthy, competition, and then it also represents unity in the community, and I think that's special.
How are things in the world of parts for Hyundais?
Well, I love my job, I love what I do, and I love who I work for.
And I didn't pay her to say that, right?
No.
But Parks did, right?
No.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Karen joining us here in the second quarter. Guys, if you're looking for a car, you know where to go. Shannon, you talked about it. Parks is the place.
Yeah, Parks is the place. Good people out there. I said it last week. I bought a couple of my cars from there, and they're really good people. They really do care about getting you the best deal possible and fitting what fits your family or yourself. Or y'all stop by Parks. If you're in this area, they're really a solid place to be.
Flag on the field after the first down run by Javaris Gardner. Yeah, and you could probably drive a few Hyundais through the offensive line that Buchholz has been able to park tonight.
Yeah, we've seen them, man, and it's been fun. It's a former offensive lineman. It's been fun for me to watch. It's a typical offense that asserts dominance. That not only that, you can have big guys and they may not know what they're doing, but they're skilled. Buchholz's offensive line is skilled, and they open up big holes, and the game plan is solid. And I think GHS is doing a really good job of trying to scheme them up. But when you got that kind of talent, you're that big. It's very tough to come up with a game plan to counteract that.
And going to be tough for GHS here after a 5-yard penalty pushes them back even further. And it might be going even further back as Buchholz is in there once again for a big stop, and this time by Virgil Lee, the sophomore.
Yeah, big hit right there by Lee coming off the edge, and they're playing Gardner off that edge, and anytime he gets the ball, there's 2 or 3 guys. I'm not just talking about a single tackle, a guy bringing him to the ground. There's 2 or 3 guys hitting him at one time, and then you see the rest of the cavalry coming. So, and Buchholz has always been good about playing team defense, right? So if you're GHS, you got to figure out a way out of this. You're going to have to figure out a way to get some points on the board. 27-0 right now, coming back right at this point of the football game is going to be tough going, especially if you put the ball away and give them another opportunity before halftime to go up almost 5 scores.
Comstock looking around, going to try to throw one deep, and that will not be strong enough. Good coverage out there for Buchholz. That's William Flagg, who had the pick a couple of possessions ago.
Yeah, trying to go at Flagg again. I thought he might have taught him once already, but good coverage there by him. Comstock not able to get it out there all the way, but almost another 50-50 ball. And maybe it begs the fact is that if Comstock gets a little protection here, can they get a route tree? Can they get some slants? Can they do something quick hitter? Because Buchholz is pretty content of covering everybody one-on-one and just leaving everybody in the box. Maybe threaten them on a couple different things, maybe a big play, a big slant, dig route, a cross or something that's going to be able to get them some semblance of yards in a passing game.
Well, it looks like there was another flag on the play, so GHS going backwards even more, and now into the end zone. It's going to be a safety.
Good gracious.
Drayson Martin in there, got a hold of Comstock and wouldn't let him go, so 2 more on the board for the Bobcats as they score on defense.
Yeah, this is nasty work, and you see it here. It's just that Comstock trying to get outside of pressure. He doesn't see a guy open, so you want to give a quarterback at least 2.5 seconds of time, and it just kind of running around, and Martin able to track him down just as fast as Comstock, probably maybe even faster, and Comstock goes down for 2.
So that makes it 29-0 as we are just over 4 minutes from halftime. And don't forget to stay tuned for our Pavlov halftime report. We'll have this week's Park Motor Group of Gainesville Scholar Athletes. We'll also talk to tonight's participating school administrators, plus Thursday night lights, Friday night rivals, highlights from all over the country. It's all coming up during our Pavlov Media Halftime Report. Pavlov, the fastest and most reliable fiber internet in Gainesville.
Yeah, it feels good if you're Buchholz right now. Everything's rolling, and this is where Coach Mark Whittemore has to keep his guys to keep their head on straight and let them know, hey, you know, when they go into halftime and they come out here in about 4 minutes and 39 seconds, is that, hey, it's still a 0-0 game. You guys are still have to play. Will you let Gainesville come back in this game? Will they kind of make it interesting? Will they start to score some points? Will you start to make mistakes? I think that's his job as a coach, especially in games like this where you have to be able to keep your guys motivated, keep them going, headstrong. And if you're Coach Oshpira, you got to get your guys going. You got to figure out something on offense to get your guys going and to help counteract or keep them on the field to counteract this Buchholz offense.
GHS choosing to kick it off, and that'll be Cam Burst on the return. But bursting in there with a big hit is Anthony Jenkins Jr. Nice job. And, you know, Shannon, that's the thing. You're down 29-0, but Oshpira is going to love to see these guys still playing hard.
Yeah, great job on kick coverage where GHS has been really good tonight. They haven't let a lot of things get past that kick coverage team, and, you know, they had a miscue on the special teams on punt, but there's some really talented players on this GHS team. They just got to put it together. Right, they hit a buzzsaw here in this first half. Let's see if they can pick it up here for moving forward.
We do have a flag on the play. So we'll try to sort that out. Unsportsmanlike, so it'll be offsetting on both sides.
Yeah, and, you know, they got and that happens, right? In a rivalry game, teams get heated at each other. You saw it in the middle of the field here. They were pushing on each other, grabbing face masks, whatever. That happens. But that still doesn't negate the fact of what GHS has to do here, right? They need to figure out a way to slow down this Buchholz offense if that's a possibility after what they've done. But a big hit, a turnover. They've created one here in the first half. They got to try to do that again, pull that ball away, send some pressure, do something a little bit different to try to be able to stop, give this defense a shot of life.
Ashton Norris will be the tailback, 4 wide for Andrew Whittemore, who's had a fantastic night tonight. We're going to get a flag, some movement on that Bobcat offense.
And you talk about one little chink right there in the armor is a 5-yard penalty. That's what GHS needed, right? Try to get them off script. Try to get them rolling, and 5 yards is extra, right? Buchholz isn't going to just be able to run it downhill every single down now, right? You got those 5 extra yards. So capitalize on this. Try to maybe get a stop, a no-gain yardage play, something here that'll be able to limit that damage.
First time that Buchholz has gone backwards tonight, but they're going to go forward there across midfield. Another dart from Whittemore, as that one is caught by Tyree Carter.
Just unbelievable. I mean, just the arm strength on that. If we go back and watch this replay, Whittemore on kind of what looks like a slant, kind of a dig route, and just puts it on a rope. It's just, you love to see that. And after the 2 picks last week, I think he's been in a groove here tonight. As you talked about, Jeff, the ball hasn't hit the ground. Right, every pass he's thrown has been caught, and he's put them in good positions, and his receivers have been helping him out with it.
Whittemore will look downfield again, and he's got his guy again. Nice catch there, going down to the ground for Coy Fryer, who's had a handful of catches tonight.
Anybody ever play NBA Jam back in the day where he's on fire? That's Whittemore right now. You're going to see it here. Just watch. I mean, just a seam throw right down the middle. It's just good throw, good catch. It's just able to get there, and there's not a lot of defense that you can put against that. That really is not. So just great throw, great catch right there.
If you're a receiver, you better get your head around.
And you better make sure your fingers are taped up too. Make sure it doesn't break your hand.
Well, GHS offside again. A couple of times tonight they have just lined up in the neutral zone.
Yeah, that's not the silly mistakes. That's the penalties, even moving forward for GHS. You want to win football games, and this one's getting, out of that range now, but you want to win football games. You can't, right, cost yourself little silly penalties, right? The offsides, the jumping offsides, the personal fouls, the stuff that you can control, that's inside your control.
Whittemore again trying to get to the corner. He's got a wide open receiver, and it's another touchdown for Dominic Harvey. What a move that Harvey put on the defender, and then nobody even close for his second score of the night.
Yeah, you're right. That was a move. It just froze the defender. Just really nasty work there by Dominic Harvey for his second one. And, you know, you talk about belt to bottom. That's what's happening right here, folks. And you don't want to see it, right? Because, you know, you saw what GHS did last week, and it was really, really solid. They were really good last week. It was such an exciting football game. Maybe it's somewhat of a little bit of a hangover, and not to mention this opponent is really good. But, you know, obviously got to be able to get themselves together, catch back up here, try to figure out something, and get some momentum going into that second half with about 3 minutes left.
Ortiz's extra point up and good again, and it's 36-0. Bobcats putting it to the Purple Hurricanes tonight on Friday Night Rivals. Well, Bobcats lead at 36-0 over GHS. Again, don't forget to stay tuned for our Pavlov halftime report. We'll have this week's Park Motor Group of Gainesville Scholar Athletes, Parks Motor Group, local roots, community pride, and legendary rides. We'll also talk with tonight's participating school administrators, plus Thursday night lights and Friday night rival highlights from all over the country. It's all coming up on our Pavlov Media halftime report. Pavlov, the fastest, most reliable fiber internet in Gainesville. Jeff Cardozo, Shannon Snell here with you as Buchholz tries to win their 8th consecutive game over GHS, and certainly well on their way to doing so. Purple Hurricanes will get the return from Gardner, and he gets out to about the 25-yard line, and GHS will take over again with just under 3 minutes to go until the half.
I guess what you don't want to do is, if you're the Purple Hurricane, is throw another throw a pick for a pick or to fumble the ball for another turnover, or give Buchholz any more points, right? Don't let that offense has got to do something, right? That defense has been kind of beat up a little bit against a really good offense. We know what Buchholz is on offense, but I think the defense I expected. Offensively, I expected a little bit more out of GHS here tonight, but it just goes to show, and it's really a feather in the cap of Coach Mark Whittemore and that defensive staff of really putting it to GHS and limiting what Boogie Gardner has been able to do. Jaquan Wooden hasn't been able to get his hands on anything, and Calvin Comstock has been very much shut down here for the first half tonight.
Yeah, just one first down for GHS here in the first half. We'll see if they can get something going. They will get the ball to start off the second half, and a reverse, and not much running room around the outside of that offensive line.
And listen, the thing about what Buchholz does is they play the point of attack well. So if you try to run down the hill at them, you better have some big boys. But they're niche, and they're the thing that they do especially well is run to the football. So trying to run outside, trying to get downhill on them on the outside of the tackles, outside of the tackle box, is tough. Those safeties and those corners are preached to come up and lay some wood and to make tackles.
Comstock, quick hitter to the outside. He's got his man. And we're going to get a face mask, so some positive yardage there as a couple of flags dart in there after Anthony Jenkins Jr. catches the football.
Yeah, I guess their biggest plays tonight, if you're GHS, has been penalties, and shame on you got to think, hey, great for us, right? Bad for Buchholz. Man, if you coach Mark Whittemore, like, hey, you guys got to stop with the gripping the face mask, and you got to stop with, taking guys out on the sideline. It costing us 15 yards.
So there's the personal foul face mask call. As the flag went up in the air, we talk about having athletes all over this field, but there was a very athletic play by our sideline guy, Randy Reinhardt. He actually caught the flag as it was tossed up in the air. It's pretty amazing to watch.
You think that might have been on his bucket list? It had to be on his bucket list. I mean, Randy catching the flag and probably wanted to throw it out there, right? He talks about the refs every week and has some really great knowledge. But I think Randy probably wanted to throw the flag one time in his career.
Well, let's check in with him to hear about that athletic move. Randy?
I owe it all to clean living. Clean living changed me. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, guys, funny story about Al Summers, our referee tonight. He's about 3 months younger than I am. Now, his job before used to be as a homicide detective. Now he works at a funeral home. So if there's one penalty he should be able to call, it's a dead ball foul. Ugh, guys, back to you.
Womp, womp, womp.
Love the dad jokes.
You got to love a man that's 18 years old. Randy turned 18 years old yesterday, and he's got 52 years of experience.
That's right.
Love that. That man is a gem.
Another big-time play by that Buchholz defense. They're still hitting. But the penalty did take the Purple Hurricane across midfield. Their best field position of the day so far.
Yeah, and Jeff, they got to capitalize on this, right? They can't be the 50-50 ball. You're going to have to do some stuff here just to give yourself some momentum going into halftime and feel good about where you can head going into the second half.
Gardner with nowhere to go. And those Bobcat linebackers in there again. This time, Virgil Lee, and then we've mentioned Isaiah Robinson a bunch tonight. He's been all over the place.
Yeah, they've been coming downhill, and anytime that Javarius Gardner has gotten the football, they've been in his chest, and it's not even allowing him, because Boogie Gardner, as we saw last weekend, we've seen in his East Side high school career, has a bit of a wiggly back. It's hard to get on the ground one-on-one, and this Buchholz defense, they're really putting it to him here tonight.
So 3rd and 9 with just over a minute to go until the half. Comstock looking around. He's got some room. Tries to get down the field, but that thing's going to be picked. Threw it across his body. And Edward Coulter trying to get the return, and he is all the way inside the 35-yard line. So Comstock with another mistake. Just a no-no against a defense like this.
Yeah, it's a no-no, period. Throwing the ball back across your body. We saw that last week from Comstock. Wasn't punished for it, but he did it again here this weekend. You sure enough, against a defense that's this fast, this quick, able to read eyes, able to read body language, able to read a lot of stuff that a lot of teams don't, made them pay for it and was able to get a big return and puts GHS in a position they didn't want to be in, and that's a turnover right before the half.
That's going to give Buchholz another opportunity with some great field position. And now, and I'm sure this is nice for Mark Whittemore. He gets to try out that 2-minute offense.
Yeah, he does get to try out that 2-minute offense, see what it looks like. And, this is going to give Buchholz the ability to put a 40-burger on the board before halftime. They're not letting off the gas. And a smart man once said, "Is like, hey, they're not running up the score. It's our as a defense, it's our job to stop them. And if you're GHS, it's your job to stop them. You got to come up with something, as they did on their turnover earlier in that first half, and try to make a stop."
Well, GHS tried to stop him there with 12 guys on the field, but they're only allowed to play with 11.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, they've done what they've done with 11 guys. Add one more guy, may make a difference.
So 5 yards forward goes Buchholz. And Whittemore is going to hand it off. And that's a nice play there by GHS. Coming up for the tackle, Zaire Francis, senior outside linebacker.
Yeah, nice job by Francis. Saw some plays from him last week. First time we called his name here tonight. But, hey, fantastic play. Stopping Buchholz for one of their first lost yardage plays here tonight.
Well, Buchholz not in much of a hurry here with 45 seconds to go on the clock. Trips receivers to the left for Whittemore. And one to the right, and finally a timeout called. So the Bobcats will use their first with 32 seconds to go until the half, and they're at the 31-yard line. So a yard a second, is it doable?
For Buchholz, yeah. I mean, let's be real. It's doable. I mean, they have playmakers all over the field. We saw what Whittemore had looking for his third touchdown here in the first half. We've seen what these guys can do, right? You got big-time playmakers on the edge. We saw his, it seemed to be his favorite receiver tonight in the short game was Avery Norris. But Dominic Harvey having a night, his second touchdown, his second two-touchdown game here in subsequent weeks. So look out for those two guys. I think Coach Whittemore is going to put that in his hands. I don't think you'll see him running the ball here for the rest of the first half. But these guys can air it out, and that's what they do best, right? Buchholz has always been known as kind of rugged, rugged football team that can run the football, but they love to air it out because they always have playmakers out there on the edge that can get it done.
Whittemore will be in the shotgun again. Two guys to his left and make it a third. Now as number 3, Avery Norris, goes out to the slot. Quick little hitter to the outside. And nice catch again by Tyree Carter. He's got enough for another UF Health Ortho Care first down, where walk-ins are welcome 7 days a week.
Yeah, this clock is running down, and looks like Buchholz is just going to go ahead and take this one into the half.
That's exactly what they will do as the clock hits 0, and the Bobcats a very comfortable 36-0 lead. It's a packed house here at Citizens Field as you see that Buchholz sideline. A lot of very happy Bobcat fans, and here is the reason why. Our Farah and Farah scoring summary. Farah and Farah Gainesville injury attorneys, proud supporters of our local student athletes.
Yeah, Joshua Menifee on that first touchdown run, and then all of a sudden here you're going to see Calvin Comstock kind of diddling around back there, able to get a safety right there. Buchholz was. And then what we saw out of Andrew Whittemore, the big bomb to his man Dominic Harvey for the big touchdown, his second touchdown here tonight, his second two-touchdown game here this week. And here's Coach Mark Whittemore on the sideline down with Randy.
Because you got to be happy with this count. But your thoughts after the first two quarters?
Well, our goal was to come out here and play really clean football, and so far, other than a couple of unsportsmanlike, which happens in a rivalry sometimes, so I don't want to get too irritated, and a fumble, we're playing the clean football we wanted to play.
What face do you put on when you go in there to talk to the team at halftime?
A face that usually makes sure that they don't take this lightly and that we finish the game well.
Coach, good luck.
Appreciate you.
Guys, it's been quite a first half.
And Mark's son Andrew has been perfect. The quarterback for Buchholz has had an awesome night. 36-0 as we head to the half.
Parks Motor Group is proud to present the Scholar Athlete of the Week. Demi Strappi of Buchholz High School is a 3-time national champion travel volleyball player and a 2026 district champion. She has a 4.7 GPA and earned 7 college credits before junior year. She volunteers at local elementary schools and helps the elderly with Elder Tech. This All-Star is now entered for a $5,000 scholarship at the end of the season. Friday Night Rivals Scholar Athletes of the Week are brought to you by Parks Motor Group of Gainesville. Local roots, community pride, legendary rides.
On behalf of Parks Motor Group, congratulations. Very well deserved.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And welcome back to the Pavlov Media Halftime Report. At the break, it is all Buchholz in this one, 36-0. We are joined at the half by the legendary, the infamous, the borderline even, athletic director at Gainesville High School, Philip Knight. And thanks for joining us here on the halftime show.
It's a pleasure to be here. We appreciate you being here with us tonight.
Let's talk about being an athletic director. Just out of curiosity, how many programs in sports do you oversee?
We have 26 different varsity teams, 39 total teams.
You've been doing this for how long?
43 years in high school athletics.
Started when you were 5. Okay. Why the fascination to do this all these years?
I just loved playing, and it's just part of my life. I don't know. This is what I've done since I was 9 years old. And I love to watch kids compete. I love to help them learn things they didn't think they could do and reach goals they didn't think they could reach.
And in your eyes, what makes Gainesville High School so special?
Gainesville is a great mixture of our community. We have academic magnet programs. We have great athletics, a good mixture of kids, and it's just in tradition. I mean, the former principal of Gainesville High School, Fritz Buchholz, started the Florida High School Athletic Association. So it's a long association with our school and high school sports in Florida, and it's just an honor to be part of that.
And you know what else they have? You.
I don't know about that, but I'm glad to be there for sure.
The biggest jewel of them all. Philip, thanks so much for your time here at halftime.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
What a leader he is. We'll take a break here at the half. 36-0 to tally in this one. When we come back, we will start thinking about the Bobcats right here on Friday Night Rivals in one place on My 11.
Motor Group is proud to present the Scholar Athlete of the Week. Sophia Kelly plays varsity volleyball at Gainesville High School, helping the team win district and regional championships. She is the National Honor Society president, the Student Body vice president, and the president of the Women's Empowerment Club. She has also performed over 400 hours of community service. This All-Star is now entered for a $5,000 scholarship at the end of the season. Friday Night Rivals Scholar Athletes of the Week are brought to you by Parks Motor Group of Gainesville. Local roots, community pride, legendary rides.
On behalf of Parks Motor Group, congratulations. Very well deserved.
Thank you so much.
Joined now by the principal from Buchholz High School, Kevin Purvis, who's brought some guests. He's brought along the one and only, hold your applause, Ava Journey as well, too, and Shanika James joining us. Now, how many years have you been principal now?
So this is my 6th year at Buchholz, 29th year overall. So just excited. You saw our fans and stands are packed. Obviously the score is going our way right now. But I just really want to showcase the type of students we have, and that's why Ava and Shanika are here.
Ava, what are you up to at Buchholz High School?
I'm the student body secretary at Buchholz, and I also run cross country and track.
And that's it. Sure. And Shanika, what do you do?
I am the class secretary, and I play varsity lacrosse, and I'm also part of our school's Black Student Union.
And you're the president of the Glow Stick Club, too, right?
Yeah.
What's it mean to have great student athletes and just great students like you have at Buchholz?
Yeah, it's just, we preach all the time, it's about family and excellence at Buchholz. They're the epitome of that. We have lots of kids that way. Our teachers and staff do a great job, and what a community we have at Buchholz. Just proud to be a part of it, and be a part of that group is just special.
And we have somebody else that's special right now. That's the one and only James Engel, who's coming in right now, and he's got a special presentation along with one of your interns as well, too. This is Milo Rosario, right?
Yes, that's Milo.
What caught your eye about the IBEW and local chapter 1205?
Well, when I was looking around for careers for my future, my mom was talking to someone called Lenny at this place, and she told me all about it. She told me what he said to her, and it sounded great, and I was like, well, I'm gonna get started on it. So.
James, he may be an electrician, but I think he's a broadcaster, too. What makes it special for you, and how can people get involved?
Well, I tell you what makes it special is, it's an option to get a real career without tuition or student loans or debt or any of that. And it really allows that apprenticeship to go earn while you learn and provide a real future for these fine young men and women that are out here today.
And for more information?
For more information, that's the Electrical Training Alliance of Gainesville is our apprenticeship program. So that's going to be etagainesville.com.
And you'd like to make a presentation, would you not?
I would like to make a presentation. And here you are, $500 from the IBEW. So it says that we'd like to support our local schools and our local students. Thank you very much.
Sir, we appreciate it. Go Cats.
Girls, don't spend it all in one place. No more glow sticks, all right? 36-0 the tally here at halftime. What a first half it has been. Second half just around the corner. Can the Canes make a comeback? We'll find out together. All in one place. This is Friday Night Rivals on My 11.
Bounds Heating and Air is proud to present the Teacher Spotlight of the Week. This week's spotlight shines on Karen Kearney of Buchholz High School. She's taught at Buchholz for 24 years and currently teaches anatomy and physiology. In 2003, she started the Buchholz wrestling program. In 2023, she was the Alachua County Teacher of the Year. Outside of school, she enjoys being creative and trying out new crafts, like making mosaics, artisan soaps, and jewelry. Along with cheering on her favorite teams, travel, and cooling off near the water, her mission in teaching is to encourage her students to be lifelong learners who will engage in the pursuit of learning for its own sake. Because as individuals, not only do we lead richer lives as a consequence of exploring new ideas and giving nourishment to our imaginations, but the progress of our society, our nation, and our world depends on education. Congratulations, Karen Kearney. Teacher Spotlight of the Week is brought to you by Bounds Heating and Air. Experience the highest quality of comfort, Bounds Heating and Air.
The best Thursday night lights and Friday night rivals highlights from across the country.
He's got some room out to the 35, to the 40, and runs right into the kicker. The ball pops free. Boy, a major league collision right there, just shy of the 45-yard line.
I am no longer going to be critical of kickers.
Faking the toss, and it's a handoff to Vaughn. Scooting around the 25, Vaughn cutting infield, reversing to the far side. Jacob Vaughn across the 30, 15, 5, all the way. Wow! What design and what a run. 90 yards to pay dirt.
Davis running a slant. They're going to try to hit him, and
he caught it.
He caught a ball. And that's going to be a touchdown.
They just continue to execute their offense in this 4-minute situation. Ooh. Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's still on his feet, and he could be gone. Yeah, forget about it. Fuentes having a night in just a half.
All right, here we go. First down. Oh, how about the big run off that left side? And Havili. Oh, Moa Havili rumbling for the touchdown.
That right there was worth waiting around to see.
$36-0 Buchholz here at the half. That is almost over, so some adjustments made. Let's head down to Randy and see what went on in that GHS locker room. Randy?
And Coach, what were those adjustments at halftime?
Well, you know, what we stressed was keeping the focus on just playing quarter by quarter. Nothing has changed for us. We're just continuing to try to improve every chance we get. Ran into some speed bumps, we've made some adjustments, but we're still focused quarter by quarter.
Coach, good luck.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Randy, thank you very much. So obviously a tough hill to climb for GHS, but I think there were several moments, Shannon, in that first half where they were still playing hard, still making big hits, and I think now it's just the goal of, hey, you're playing a team that obviously is better than you, but how can each of these guys grow? How can they get better? Because it's still a long season ahead.
It is a long season, Jeff, and they showed a lot of promise last week. We saw that, and we want to see that carry over into tonight. Ran into a little bit of a buzzsaw in that first half, but as you said, they played hard, right? Great job on kickoff coverage, forced a fumble there in that first half, and this is the opportunity in the second half to kind of reset a little bit, start to get on your game, maybe get your offense going a little bit, and see if you can kind of lessen the score down what it looks like on the scoreboard.
Bradley Ruland with the kickoff. His father, very unique player, played for both Florida and Florida State.
He did.
As a kicker, which is kind of crazy to think about.
He did, and that I don't even know how to feel about that. Are you a Gator? Are you a Seminole?
He's definitely a Gator at heart.
100% Gator. Yeah, he lives in Gainesville, and he is definitely a Gator through and through.
Yeah, local business owner doing some tremendous things, and you often see Pops running around supporting Florida basketball and football, of course. And you could definitely tell Radley had a very nice leg. Just took a awkward bounce out of bounds. That'll give GHS a nice field position to get things going their initial drive. It will be a running clock here in the second half, as again the Bobcats lead 36-0. Alongside Shannon Snell, Jeff Cardozo here with you. Thanks for joining us on My 11. It is IBEW Local 1205's Friday Night Rivals. Comstock fakes the handoff and not much running room, which has been the case, Shannon, all game long.
Yeah, and here's the thing is you got to give a ton of credit to Buchholz, Coach Mark Whittemore, that entire staff about how they wanted to come into this game and play the run. You knew that the ball was going to be in Javaris Carter's hands, and you knew that they were going to try to run him and have him cut back. And at every turn, even on plays that Buchholz might have over pursued, and even at some points during the game, you get caught out of position. But Buchholz has been there all night to where they've been able to stop for very, very minimal gains.
So Comstock will fake the handoff, look down the field, and that one a little overthrown and in and out of the hands of the defender, Cameron Awuma. It did look like the wide receiver just stopped.
He did, and it was kind of aired out of bounds, but yeah, you're right. I mean, that almost had the opportunity to be picked out right there on the edge of that sideline by Awuma. And if you're a receiver, sometimes you have to play defense. And sometimes your defense is the best offense. It will prevent a guy from picking the ball off, and Awuma almost took that and gave Comstock his third pick here tonight.
The Bobcat fans, make some noise. This is
So 3rd and 10 now. Comstock will hand it off over the right side. That is Samuel Warren Jr. with his second carry of the drive, but just a couple of there. So that'll be 4th and about 6 now for GHS.
And you figure they're going to have to maybe kick this ball away here, just because it's, you're at a point. You turn the ball over here, you're almost giving up free points. It's exactly what Buchholz has done. So a quick 3 and out for Buchholz. Continuing into the second half, and you really have to listen to what Coach Mark Whittemore said at the end of that first half, where he said, hey, I'm going to express to my guys. Great coaches always express, no matter if you're up by 36, you're up by 1. It is a new game. You have to go out and perform like you did in the first half. Buchholz obviously fantastic. But if you don't, it doesn't turn into a complete game, and it ends up being one of those things where it doesn't feel as good.
Low snap. Nice job by the kicker to get it off. It'll be picked up by Norris, who gets across midfield as he is immediately tackled by Anthony Jenkins Jr. So good field position for Buchholz as they will get going here in the second half. So Andrew Whittemore will sit down. His night is over, and what a night it was for the junior quarterback. Did not throw an incomplete pass all night long, and he will give way to Riley McGriff, the sophomore for Buchholz.
Yeah, fantastic night for Whittemore. Just really picked off where he left off last week, and just a fantastic night when the ball doesn't touch the ground as a quarterback.
This guy's had a pretty good night too. Joshua Menifee, as he just continues to reel off 15-yard gains as he gets another one right there.
Yeah, tough runner. You can see him. He's kind of like the little scat back that can dart in and out of traffic and really stop on a dime. And you see it here coming off the right edge. That power play that Buchholz has been known to run. You see that guard coming around, number 72 right there, coming around hot again. Ibram's share coming around, and that power play has been their bread and butter tonight, and they've made the most out of it.
And it looked like one of the GHS players got rolled up on the tackle, so one of those great UF Health athletic trainers will be out to take a look. And as that's going on, we'll take a break. 36-0 here at Citizens Field. Buchholz with the lead. Well, we'd like to take a moment to thank the fine folks at Sonny's Barbecue for feeding our Friday Night Rivals crew tonight. Sonny's, we are barbecue.
Since the hamburgers and hot dogs there, we got some chicken tonight. That's my favorite. A funny story, Jeff. For the first 6 months I worked at Sonny's a year ago when I started, I ate nothing but chicken.
Really?
Chicken for 6 months. I'm not sick of it because it's some good daggone chicken. So if you're near your local Sonny's, stop by and grab some great chicken.
It certainly is. There's a quick toss out to Menifee as he tries to get around the left side. And he will just get back to the original line of scrimmage.
And you know, listen, there's still, you know, for GHS, you don't want to leave here with a goose egg on the scoreboard, right? You have the opportunity to really change what happened in the first half. Maybe not on the scoreboard completely to where we're winning the football game, but I do think there's a pride in these young men that Coach Osh P. has instilled into them where they don't want to walk out without putting their best effort on the field and making sure that they do everything in their power to walk out of here with this goose egg not on that board.
Menifee will get the carry again, fighting hard. Helmets flying all over the place. One of the few occasions tonight where it's been third down for Buchholz.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen it quite more than a handful of times here tonight, even once maybe.
So 3rd and 6. McGriff will get the snap. He'll get it to the outside. He's got his man Coy Fryer, but Fryer is going to be tackled before getting first down yardage. Nice job there by the defender. That's Zaire Francis again coming up.
Yeah, Francis coming up and making a really nice tackle. Making a fantastic tackle right there, getting them on the ground.
So 4th down for Buchholz tonight. They have not had to punt. They have scored on every possession. McGriff goes under center. Menifee in the backfield. Will hand it up the gut. Strong run, and is it going to be enough?
It doesn't look like they made it.
That is going to be the question. Chugging and churning those feet was Rylan Brown, the sophomore.
Yeah, it looks like that ball. It looked like that ball is short.
Well, and it looks like they are going to call it a first down for Buchholz. So we'll have a water break and take a timeout, as the rest of the teams do as well. Again, 36-0. Buchholz gets the first down. They drive here in the middle of quarter number 3. Running clock here in the third quarter as we continue. Let's toss it down to Randy for a Tucker Chiropractic injury update, the best in quality care. Randy, what you got?
Well, sometimes you can get good news in an injury update, as they're coming my way on a handoff around the right-hand side. No serious injuries to report tonight, but a clarification for you guys. Javaris Gardner, we wondered what happened last week, why we didn't see him much near the end, and we saw a good performance instead by Keanis Perry. Well, Gardner was fighting the effects of the flu last week, so that kind of slowed him down, and they wanted to make sure he didn't get too run down near the end of the game, but he is healthy and wealthy and doing well here in week number 2.
And they will certainly need him the rest of the way as McGriff's pass short hops the intended receiver.
They will need him the rest of the way. Unfortunately tonight, it's just been a little bit of a rough going for a lot of folks on this GHS football team. But listen, after last week and Jeff, we've seen it last season, is that this team, while had moments of glimpses of greatness last season, so much of a better spot this season under Coach Ash Pira and what he's been able to do in the offseason. So look forward to more big things from the GHS Hurricanes.
Nice block as Menifee gets to the outside.
And it's always going to be a fight, right? You talk about some of the classes of the county, some of the heavy hitters of the county, Buchholz being one, right? In a couple of weeks, we'll see one of my favorite teams, the Hawthorne Hornets, right? They're a really good football team, and this is one of the things that GHS is going to have to overcome. To be the class of the county, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Ric Flair, woo! He's always said it, that you got to get people like this. You got to beat teams like this. Until you do, you won't be in the conversations as best. And they'll get, as the road comes, as they get down the road, they'll get closer and closer here and moving forward under great direction under Ash Pira.
Buchholz only needed a yard. They got a couple as Ashton Norris gets it through there. Another Skyfrog tree service first down. Skyfrog stay motivated. So the Buchholz backups here making their way down the field.
And they're just methodically moving this ball in the run game as they do. You can see that they just have a really well-oiled operation here.
McGriff with a nice completion there. Tyree Carter with the catch. And we'll have a late flag.
And you can see McGriff is only a sophomore, right? You got Whittemore, who's kind of your guy. He'll be here another year. But it's not going to be a fall off. By the time Whittemore leaves, right, you got another year. Junior is going to be a senior next year. But when Whittemore leaves, in steps McGriff, and he's got the experience. Especially games like this. This means a ton. There's nothing like real game experience, Jeff. There's nothing like it. Like, you can do it all in practice. You can do it in like little scrimmages, inter-squad scrimmages. But this for Riley McGriff means a ton, as you see him right there. It means a ton for him because this is going to prepare him to have a big season or even if he needs to step in due to injury, there's always a chance that could happen, that he has to step up at some point in the season.
Ashton Norris getting the handoff right up the middle again. He's inside the 5-yard line. So once again, Buchholz in the Calamatras red zone. Deal so hot they built a fire station across the street. Up to the gut and right into the end zone goes Norris. His second touchdown of the night, and they just got behind those big uglies on that drive and made it all the way into the end zone.
A little Limp Bizkit early 2000 coming back in and keep rolling, and that's exactly what Buchholz has done tonight. They've rolled, and they've gotten behind their strength, which is their offensive line. And let me tell you something, this is the too deep, right? When they have a guy in that 5, the front 5 that go down, there's going to be a guy that's inserted in here, and there won't be a drop-off, and that means a lot. Teams with depth are teams that go a long, long way in the season in the state playoffs.
Bradley Ruland and to try to get the extra point, and it is perfect right through the uprights. But we'll have to do it again. Some movement on Buchholz's side. False start will back things up 5 yards.
And you heard Coach Mark Whittemore in the first half when he only named 3 things that they could work on to play clean football. That generally doesn't happen. You can't even do that on a video game on the easiest difficulty. And that means a lot, because when you play that well and you can only name 3 things, that means you're probably up big as Buchholz is here tonight.
So a 25-yard extra point for Radley Ruland. And that one perfect again. So despite moving back 5 yards, no problem for the Buchholz senior. And it is 43-0. Bobcats continue to pour it on. Fans, it's almost time for the fourth quarter, and we'll be selecting our IBEW Local 1205 player of the game in just a little bit. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 1205, powering a brighter future. Bunch of 4s go up because it is quarter number 4, and 43 on the scoreboard for Buchholz. Jeff Cardozo, Shannon Snell back here with you up in the booth. Down on the sideline, Randy Reinhardt and a whole bunch of hard-working crew members doing their thing. Brad setting it all up and making us sound good, because we certainly can't look good.
Not all of us, but, you know.
Well, it's a little hot, so big shout out to Bounds Heating and Air, where you can experience the highest quality of comfort. Bounds Heating and Air, if you need something. Ball's on the ground, but picked up. And a flag will come in late. That's a tough flag when dude goes down on the ground and you kind of fall on top of him.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that one was kind of a quick flag, too, so I don't know if that was – it's going to be a 15-yarder, the third one of the game for Buchholz. And if there's one thing they have to get cleaned up, it's that, right? These penalties that, even if it's an in-betweener, as that looked like it was, Jeff, I kind of agree with you. But if you put it in the ref's court or you give him the opportunity to grab his flag and he does it, you can't really blame him one way or another. So if you're Coach Mark Whittemore, yeah, you will have to address those 15-yarders because that's cost you 45 yards in this game, right? And against a team like they had last week at Vanguard, they had quite a few penalties. And not to mention, you know, they had to make a stop in overtime on the goal line to preserve a victory, right? These 15-yarders mean a ton because you can't give them to great teams. And, you know, I've seen some great teams last season, and we've even seen a couple good ones this season that you can't keep giving those up. You can't keep having those.
Well, it certainly didn't feel good, though, for Anthony Jenkins Jr. He was player banged up. They got fallen on, and he will come off the field as Gardner gets to work, found a nice hole, one of the better blocking efforts by that GHS offensive line, and a big run there on first down for 7 yards.
Yeah, finally, it gets up in that pocket a little bit, and he's not getting stopped at the line of scrimmage. You can see a little bit of a surge there by that offensive line, so got to feel good if you're GHS in that interior offensive line, which has been stymied pretty much here all night.
Very valuable for Calvin Comstock as well as he continues to learn. You can tell that sophomore's got a chance to be really, really special as Gardner's chugging, and he's got a first down. A UF Health Ortho Care first down. UF Health Ortho Care, where walk-ins are welcome 7 days a week. Those guys do a tremendous job, and they've got athletic trainers on both sidelines here. The athletic supervisor is here as well, Cassie Winkfield. Just a phenomenal program that UF Health does. Majority of the local high schools in the area having that athletic trainer on site is huge. And we saw it last week with all the cramps and things happening. So, Shannon, that's at least a good part. Not as many cramps tonight.
Yeah, and Jeff, you can feel out here, it's not as hot, it's not as muggy. Last week felt like a sauna out here, even as late at night as it was, pushing 9:30, still felt 88, 90 degrees. You can tell this is the best part of the year where the weather starts to change and these guys, even their bodies after week one, start to get adjusted to the heat and the running around, and they're not losing as much fluid, which probably is a good thing for them. But you got to give a huge shout out to the UF Health folks for really taking care of these guys. Last week it looked like a storybook as many times they were on the field stopping cramps, but they did a really good job of keeping these young men going.
Comstock's pass intended for Elijah Lewis Thompson, a little behind him. Gardner's been the workhorse on this drive. A couple of first downs for GHS.
You see Cameron Awuma right there, able to break. They almost got his hands on that, pick that ball off, and Gabe Comstock is his third pick of the night. But yeah, you don't want to get away from what's kind of gotten you down here. Looks like they have to throw it around a little bit, but now you're putting yourself in the 3rd and 6, and you need somewhat of at least get half, 3/4 of this back to have a realistic shot at 4th down.
They'll give it to Gardner, getting around the outside, and he's going to get all the way to the end zone. How about that? Breaking a tackle and breaking the shutout as GHS is able to get into the end zone for the first time tonight.
That's what we talk about, and that's what we wanted to see. And you'll see a lot more of that during the season, where you'll see Boogie Gardner kind of going up and down the field. Like he had big runs last week, and Buchholz had done a really good job against him all night, and finally he gets loose for what was a big touchdown and to stop the shutout.
Well, and again, you got to love that. If you're GHS, they're going to go for 2 here, it looks like, but just some confidence.
Yeah,
here late in the game, and that's a great job by the offensive line on this drive.
Really, it was. I mean, blocking on the edge right there. Boogie was able to get out to the right edge and just get up on that and get up into the right seam and take it the distance with that good speed of his.
Comstock tried to keep it, and he had nowhere to run. Big time stop right there as Caden Dowdle The junior gets in there, so no 2-point conversion as Comstock is banged up a little bit after that one.
Yeah, he's taking some shots tonight, and I hate to say this, and you don't want to see a player get hit, but this is going to be good for him. Comstock is going to grow. All right, he's a young guy, right? But he's going to definitely grow. Only a sophomore. He'll grow from this, especially against a team like this.
So GHS gets on the board. No more shutout, but the Bobcats still with a big lead tonight here on Friday Night Rivals. Jeff and Shannon back here with you as GHS gets on the board. It's 43-6 though, Buchholz, and Buchholz certainly has had a lot of big-time names over the years. Of course, the Whittemore family has been synonymous with this program, and you've got a bunch of guys that have turned on to be Gators. And Randy has found another guy with a last name that many of you will recognize. I just had the pleasure of hanging out with Coach Steve Spurrier and Jerry celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary on Monday night, and Randy is down there with Junior. Randy?
I am indeed honored to be talking to him, and right now offensive analyst at Florida, right?
Yes, sir.
In layman's terms for us dumb people, what does that mean?
Well, I'm an assistant quarterback coach and get the opportunity to work with the team and work with Coach Faulkner and Coach Sumrall.
And here's a breakaway run right now as Buchholz has it all the way down to the 40-yard line. Coach, go ahead.
Good kickoff return there. No, I'm a Gator, and it's been a pleasure to be here in Gainesville. My wife's a Gator, and it's great to have my kids here. Friday night football is tough to beat.
It is indeed. Coach, thank you so much for your time,
yes,
and we hope to see you again real soon.
I'm always here. Have a great week. See you, Randy.
And Jeff Cardozo, he said nothing about good things about you as well, too. He said you were a class act.
Awesome. I slipped him a 20.
Yeah, I saw that. It was actually 100, so you don't have to look.
It was?
You know, it's funny because if you close your eyes, he has very much the mannerisms of Coach Spurrier.
No doubt.
Who I see, who just one of my idols growing up. I obviously had the chance to play for him, and you know, Gators keep passing down the lineage and keep moving on through Gainesville. It definitely feels good.
GHS calling a timeout here before Buchholz takes back over again. And, you know, obviously that Steve Spurrier name is just synonymous with everything that's special here in Gainesville. Special night for Buchholz as they are trying to win their 8th in a row in this rivalry, and they're 5 minutes away from doing so on Friday Night Rival. Back here at Citizens Field, On the east side of Gainesville, city rivalry, Buchholz and GHS. These two have been going at it for a long, long time, and it's kind of crazy how things have flipped. I was talking to somebody earlier today that knew I was coming to do the game, and they didn't even remember when Buchholz would even come close to beating GHS. GHS was a big part of this rivalry, and they always dominated Buchholz. So what Mark Whittemore has been able to do since taking over as head coach and of securing things back has been pretty big time.
Yeah, it's crazy how, the GHS of old had tons of great players come through here, and they were the class of the county. It was reversed, and then all of a sudden, Buchholz and Mark Whittemore has really taken over a new charge here.
So the clock continues to wind down, just under 5 minutes. A majority of the Buchholz backups in there, but certainly a great experience for a guy like Riley McGriff. Jackson Dillon now in there at running back. And he'll get the handoff. Gets a couple before being tackled. And over close to that Buchholz sideline, Randy has found another guy with some ties to the Florida Gators. Randy?
I'm talking about Kewan Ratliff. I didn't know he played for Florida because where did I see you first time?
Whitehall Yearly.
That's right. I called his games how many years ago?
I don't want to admit it, but it was at least 26, 27 years ago.
27 years ago, I called his games. DB coach, are you happy with the team's play so far on defense?
I'm happy, but I'm not satisfied. We easy interceptions. We got a few, but we should have a lot more.
Remember, I'm always your senior, okay? Get out of here, Kewan. I love you, buddy. Take care. Guys, back up the stairs to you.
All right, Randy having a good time tonight, which is awesome. That's what it's all about. And, it's special too, Shannon, when you can get a lot of these guys. I mean, I get to hang out with you and, get the knowledge and experience of, a guy that was an All-American, played in the NFL. And, I think for these kids too, it's got to be great. I mean, you're talking about a guy where he can just throw on his tape and say, hey, that's me. Those are some of the things that I did. And, you would think that these high school kids would really appreciate what they can offer.
Yeah, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. And, this it was a lot. And you got to give credit to Coach Mark Whittemore bringing guys on to the staff that are like that, because kids naturally want to play for coaches that have had or players that have had success at the next level, whatever that may be, whether it be high school, college, pro, whatever it may be, that can speak knowledgeably about what has happened, some of their experiences, and can coach them up to get to the next level and be as equally special as they were.
Well, and as we were just talking about, Steve Spurrier Jr., his son is now in there at quarterback. Palmer Spurrier, who is now going to run off the field. So Palmer in there for the last play, and he'll give things back over to Riley McGriff. Nice run there by Jackson Dillon. As we are under 3 minutes to go in this one. It's been a running clock here in the second half. Game dominated by Buchholz, where Andrew Whittemore did not throw an incompletion in his time in there in the first half. And there's another carry to the right for Jackson Dillon.
Yeah, going back to Whittemore, he's been fantastic, right? Now, we talked about at the top of the broadcast that he had some stuff to clean up from last week. He threw a couple of picks, and it was a really close win over a really stout Vanguard football team. But able to come in here, really, and take a look at the tape. Normally you go back and you don't want to always look at the great plays. As a matter of fact, your coaches don't probably fast forward through them. But they wanted to take a look at maybe some of the things that he didn't do so well. Those picks kind of stood out, and turning the ball over and being in the position of quarterback, you don't want to cost your team points. He came in here tonight and really went on a vengeance streak, and the ball didn't hit the ground, and really just a fantastic job of putting it in a bunch of different ways to where his receivers were very successful.
Dillon getting to the outside again. He's been the workhorse here on the drive, and he's got another UF Health Ortho Care first down.
And realistically, you look at what Buchholz has done here tonight, it's probably as good as they could have played. You talk about this is the second game of the season. Your biggest opportunity or your biggest improvement comes from game 1 to game 2. Buchholz is on their trajectory is like a roller coaster. They're on their way up. They don't plan on going down anytime soon. And hopefully we've seen a good Buchholz team tonight, but I don't think we've seen the best of them, and that is very scary for a lot of teams around the state of Florida.
Chase Waters, the freshman, will get the carry. As we are at a minute to play in the ball game, so cool experience for a freshman as well, as he's going to get it again, but he's not going to go anywhere. Nice job by Trayvon Richardson getting in there and making the tackle.
Yeah, we called his name a couple times tonight, and Richardson just got caught up. And listen, he went up against a really formidable offensive line tonight, some really, really good guys, and he'll see that if he wants to move on to the next level, and he's got skills to do it. He'll see those kind of offensive lines, big guys that can move, that can block on angles, that can push some people around.
Waters get it again, not much running room. And another nice stop by GHS, and big old number 74 Richardson in there on the tackle again, and that is going to do it. 10 seconds left on the clock. Buchholz will let it run down, and it will be a 37-point victory tonight for Buchholz, as they have won their 8th straight game against GHS, that crosstown rival. All right, time for our Farah and Farah scoring summary. Farah and Farah, Gainesville injury attorneys and proud supporters of our local student athletes. It was the offensive line pushing guys around tonight, Shannon.
Yeah, it was the offensive line. You see Ashton Norris getting into the end zone for a touchdown. Doing a good job of just really mashing behind that offensive line. And this is what you want to see out of GHS. And you see Boogie Gardner coming around that right edge and using that speed, using what we saw last week, what we saw at the east side, was bottled up most of the night, but able to break that goose egg on the board and finally get into the end zone.
That ended the shutout, but Buchholz able to put more than 40 on the scoreboard. We'll take a break, come back, and give away some hardware on Friday Night Rivals. Well, the Bobcat Marching Band playing in front of the team that just put 43 up on the scoreboard. Nice effort again for Buchholz as they win this one tonight, 43-6. They improve to 2-0 on the year, and GHS falls to 0-2. Tonight's IBEW Local 1205 Player of the Game is, no surprise, number 9, Andrew Whittemore, did some really good things tonight.
Yeah, Whittemore running and gunning, and after last week, I think he went back and worked on his craft, and sure enough, he hit the short, he hit the intermediate, and he did hit the deep bombs as well. He did everything, and he even used his legs there to get that first down. And this is what you love about him, is that these throws, these are real big league throws. You see these in colleges around the country. I'm talking about SEC and Big Ten. We're talking about things, and you see the bomb here coming down this right sideline to Dominic Harvey. Just a fantastic job by him tonight. Not letting the ball hit the ground. Can't tell you folks how tough that is. but he made it almost like a very easy task here tonight against the Gainesville Purple Hurricane.
The 2 catches tonight for Harvey, both of them touchdowns. So production out of number 6, pretty special as well. Well, always fun when we can hand out some hardware, and Randy has the honor of doing so with the Bobcat head coach, Mark Whittemore.
What a performance tonight by the Bobcats as they go 2-0 in the season. Mark, talk about the performance by your team through 4 quarters. I didn't see any letdown in the second half at all.
Well, we really wanted to play clean football tonight. My captains, we really addressed that this week. Wanted to go from better to better, and I really think that we did that tonight. We with the exception of a couple football plays, we played some really good football tonight.
How does the rest of the season look for you?
Well, we've got some games that we're really going to have to lock in. This taught us to really lock in on a city rivalry, and so that was our goal going into this game. I think we accomplished that. So with these games coming up, I think lock in is the key.
8 straight wins in this series. 9th time now you're trying to look for the City League championship in a row. And a guy that tonight, for the first time ever, I think, had a quarterback rating that was an exponent. It was that good here in this contest. Andrew, you are the player of the game. Talk about what it means to be a part of this team here in your junior year.
Yeah, Buchholz is a special place. You know, it was a great team win. We went out here and took care of business well, and to start to a great season, and this is just the beginning. So.
Coach, how difficult was it last year to get the keys and the car to a kid that didn't even have a driver's license, yet here he is a year later running this program and taking it as a state power?
Well, you know, we went to the Final Four last year with him at the helm. He's got 14 games under his belt, now 15, 16, 17. So he's a veteran at this point. He's going to lead this team, and he's ready for that job.
Where's Coach Bell at? Where's he at? Coach Bell, did he leave? All right, Coach Bell. Coach Bell, what's the one rule? What is the one rule we have here?
The one rule is don't hurt Randy.
Thank you very much. With that being said, here are your champions.
Well, pretty special stuff. Congratulations to the Buchholz Bobcats, our Friday night rivals winner here in week 2. And Shannon, always fun to get back. And I mean, you could see it right from the get-go. We'll see the Bobcats a couple more times this year, but they look like the making of another powerhouse.
They're scary. And listen, you see teams as we go throughout the season that got it. We're at game 2, and I feel like they're in mid-season form. So shout out to them. And if you're a team that plays the Buchholz Bobcats, you better bring your lunch pail.
And Andrew's older brother Creed is the starting wide receiver for Utah this year, and then you had Trent before that. So this Whittemore family continues to do some really, really good things. And all of us like to take a moment to thank the wonderful sponsors, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 1205, and Radiant Credit Union, who through their contributions make these games possible for all of you watching back at home. Also like to thank our other great sponsors for their contributions. Parks Motor Group of Gainesville, Pavlov Media, UF Health, OrthoCare, Skyfrog Tree Service, Raising Cane's, Call a Mattress, Bounds Heating and Air, Tucker Chiropractic, Farah and Farah, Gainesville Personal Injury Attorneys, and of course, Sonny's Barbecue, who gets us through each and every game and got the green beans to be healthy today. That's what it's all about. Especially the thanks to all of you for watching, and our participating school administrators for their support, Gainesville High School, and our hosts tonight, Buchholz High School. For our producer Patrick and everybody else that did their thing tonight, we really, really appreciate it. My partner, Shannon Snell, see you next week.
Yes, sir.
I am Jeff Cardozo. Have an awesome weekend, everybody.
With this telecast of Friday Night Rivals possible, IBEW Local Union 1205, Radiant Credit Union, and Parks Motor Group. Thank you to our great sponsor supporters for their contributions. Pavlov Media, Sonny's Barbecue, Bounds Heating and Air, UF Health OrthoCare, Raising Cane's, Skyfrog Tree Service, Farah and Farah Gainesville Injury Attorneys, Tucker Chiropractic, and Call a Mattress Superstore. And a special thanks to tonight's participating high schools for their continued support